Aj I'm in conversation with Miss Ratnawali, who is an early educator with a very prestigious school in Kolkata. And she's the educator for last 20 odd years. हर एक्सपीरियंस तो आपको पता ही चल रहा है कि हर एक्सपीरियंस इज अमेजिंग, लेकिन उनकी कुछ इंसाइट्स हैं जो कि आई ऑल्सो काइंड ऑफ अग्री विथ कि जो चेंज हुआ है कोविड के बाद, जिसमें हम लोग और हमारे बच्चे खासतौर पर घर में बंद ही रह गए, तो उनके एजुकेशन पे इससे बहुत फर्क पड़ा है। क्या फर्क पड़ा है और एज अ पेरेंट हम लोग क्या कर सकते हैं उसके बारे में इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू हैव एन इंसाइट फ्रॉम मिस मुखर्जी। वेलकम रत्नावली टू माय चैनल एंड प्लीज टेल अस कि कैसे तुमने ये ऑब्जर्व किया कि हाउ द एजुकेशन इन चिल्ड्रन एंड हाउ देयर इंटरेस्ट वर बिफोर एंड हाउ इट हैज चेंज्ड नाउ।
Thank you, Abhilasha, for having me and calling me here. See, COVID, now we all know that the world is divided into two eras, pre-COVID, post-COVID.
Yeah, I agree.
Like all the other spheres of our life, education system, the pattern, and the children's acceptability and adaptability has also changed.
Okay.
With the 2 years of we can call it gap in certain ways, and also a great learning and adaptation process which has kind of filled in the gaps. But once the gaps are filled, there are profound changes also. So see, the first thing that we have realized that the world has changed vis-a-vis the technology, the adaptability of technology, not only the students but also the educators, teachers. हम लोगों ने तो overnight Zoom पे switch किया या Google Classroom में switch किया. Everyone was not so tech savvy. People have learned. And when I come to talk about very young children, they suffered a major loss because the human touch, those who were about to enter, because the pandemic started in March, April, that was the onset of a new session. Children who were just about to enter school,
right,
the pre-nursery 2+3+ years, or children who had just completed 1 year of school, that they just learned कि school कैसे जाना है, next year उनमें थोड़ा और learning होता है, वो बंद हो गया. So they were in the confines of very comfortable homes where 1 or 2 bachas, parents are doing everything to please them.
Right.
You have to understand, like comprehend the instructions and follow.
And
you have to sit in a place. There are certain disciplinary norms. ये सब तो बच्चे जरूर कुछ बच्चे सीखे नहीं, और जो बच्चे सीखे थे, even बड़े बच्चे, not only the early age kids, even the teenagers, the primary schools, high school children, they forgot the basic norms of the school.
So sitting tolerance has
teaching, learning.
Oh
yes, acceptance, tolerance has reduced, because see, once the children come out of the confines of the home and the comfort and the encasing factor of the parents, when they go to school, they also learn to conduct themselves by observation of other children's behavior. So वो सब तो हो नहीं रहा था. पेरेंट्स को क्या हुआ, और पेरेंट्स को भी जो न्यू पेरेंट्स है उनको लगा कि whatever my child is doing is correct, because they do not know how the same, the children from the same age group, they have a way of conducting themselves. So even if मेरा बच्चा कुछ कर रहा है which is little deviated, I do not know, because there is no reference yard when you are only exposed to your child and your own parents and your own house.
Seriously?
Yes, this स्कूल तो फोन में है, मेरा स्कूल मेरे पास नहीं है, मेरा स्कूल तो मामा लेके ऑफिस चला गया, because मामा का लैपटॉप.
Trust me, ये मेरे पहली बार सुनने में आया है कि कुछ बच्चों को ऐसा भी लगता है कि स्कूल जो है वो लैपटॉप में है.
Yes, because the the 2.5-3-year-old kids जिनको प्री नर्सरी में जाना था.
Oh no.
उनका तो फर्स्ट एक्सपोजर स्कूल का लैपटॉप से ही हुआ.
How did you handle that then? कैसे उस बच्चे को समझाया?
22 when the kids started coming, हमने रियलाइज किया कि बच्चों को चेयर पे बैठना नहीं आता है.
Oh my God.
Because children would sit on the bed and see everyone. ऐसे भी सिचुएशन होते हैं जब घर में 4 बच्चे हैं स्कूल गोइंग. You cannot have 4 room for 4 children, right?
Correct.
You may not have if it's a joint family situation or something.
Yes.
So children would sit on the bed, sit in the veranda, कोई भी सोफे पे बैठ गए. तो स्कूल में चेयर में बैठना भी एक स्किल है, वो भी बच्चों में नहीं था. अच्छा, सब कुछ मेरा नहीं है, यू हैव टू शेयर, यू हैव टू लिसन टू अदर्स, यू हैव टू, वो जो एक टेबल पे दो बच्चे बैठते हैं, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट स्मॉल किड्स, तो हमको इतना स्पेस उसके लिए भी छोड़ना है। दिस आर वेरी बेसिक थिंग्स, पर बच्चों ने ये भी नहीं सीखा।
माय गॉड, हाँ बिल्कुल सही बात है, कैसे
यस,
सीखे।
एंड जो थोड़े बड़े बच्चे थे, उनको प्रॉब्लम ये हुआ कि सुबह 7 o'clock स्कूल बस आती है, यू हैव टू गेट रेडी, हैव अ बाथ, ड्रेस अप फॉर स्कूल। ये तो हैबिट चला गया था, किसी तरह उठे, लैपटॉप ऑन किया, टी शर्ट पहन लिया, स्कूल का शर्ट पहन लिया, बैठ गए। तो दैट रेजिमेंटेशन, the children found it very difficult to adjust with. When the school reopened, we struggled with a lot of absenteeism, irregularity, because children could not wake up on time to attend school or wake up on time to catch the school bus.
इतना टाइम लगा कि मतलब
इसको टाइम 1 साल लगा सब ठीक ठाक होने में।
1 साल?
Yes, to get the discipline in place, to get the study habits in place, to do your homework in place, because senior school में क्या हुआ, जैसे ही homework online हुआ, children starting, तुम इतना half you do, I will do, they started dividing work, exchanging work. But when you have to do homework in, like in hard copies, you have to do your work. So to get your habits correct, to get a haircut every month, to trim, I'm talking about very basic things. Education तो सिर्फ पढ़ाई लिखाई नहीं है.
नहीं बिल्कुल,
To
आई
trim
एग्री।
your nails every week, to eat on time, to have your toilet habits on time, to sleep on time. ये सब कुछ, the whole cycle, the
एंड विल यू से कि अभी सारे बच्चे जो हैं मतलब ट्रेन्ड हैं और दे आर कंसिडरिंग स्कूल
yes,
एज
yes,
स्कूल एंड
why
फोन
not?
एज फोन?
No, अभी स्कूल फोन नहीं है, but yes,
तो
पढ़ाई,
ये
lot of पढ़ाई has shifted to online.
राइट, ये एक्चुअली मतलब सब जगह ही सुनने को आया कि बच्चों को बहुत फर्क पड़ा है। तो ये बिहेवियरल मेनली व्हाट यू हैव जस्ट सेड। व्हाट अबाउट देयर जो फाइन मोटर स्किल्स बोलेंगे या और भी जो मतलब
सबसे
टेक्निकल
पहले
थिंग्स हैं?
yes, sorry. First thing that again we noticed in the very early age children speaking. When we started, started the admission procedure in 2022, 21, तो वो जो 2-3 साल के बच्चे थे, उनका तो स्पीच डेवलपमेंट 1 साल तक होता है, 1 साल से शुरू होता है बच्चों का, थोड़ा पहले ही होता है, बट मेजर व्हेन दे स्टार्ट स्पीकिंग सेंटेंसेस, दैट इज अबाउट 1 year old. उस टाइम व्हाट हैपेंड, चिल्ड्रन ओनली इंटरेक्टेड विद देयर पेरेंट्स or the mates, no peer group.
Correct.
So their exposure to language was limited to their parents, who were again very busy working. If you think about the urban nuclear setup or the school where I teach, most of the children, they come from, families where both parents are working. Half of the population like come from nuclear families. And nowadays, even the house helps or the caregivers for children, everyone is busy with their phones. That is what we notice all around us.
Correct.
So unless you really have grandparents or a large family, children were not being spoken to. So unka speech development definitely was impaired. How does a child learn to speak? By hearing. अब जिसको सुनाई नहीं देता है वो कभी बात करना नहीं सीखेगा, बट अगर सुनने को कुछ मिलना चाहिए ना, तो we noticed a lot of children do not speak, not because of any medical hindrance, but because they were not being spoken with, and they were only exposed to to phones and YouTube channels. And the children who spoke, they didn't speak the mother tongue, they spoke English with a twang. जिनके घर में खानदान में कोई इंग्लिश नहीं बोलता है, दे विल से लाइक उनकी इंग्लिश मुझे सुनना पड़ता है, दैट्स अ काउ. सो उनके घर में तो दैट वाज द यूट्यूब इफेक्ट. पेरेंट्स वुड
यूट्यूब इफेक्ट.
यस, सबको एक टैब दे दो, बच्चों को एक टैब दे दो, फोन दे दो, सो दैट द चिल्ड्रन आर एंगेज्ड एंड पेरेंट्स आर बिजी वर्किंग. अभी ऑफिस का काम भी था, घर का काम भी था, तो
वेरी ऑनेस्टली रत्नावली, मतलब ये अभी जो जितनी बात हुई है उसके हिसाब से ऐसा लग रहा है कि कोविड तो छोटा ही था. ये वाला मतलब ये तो अभी तक लास्ट ही कर रहे हैं. भले हम लोग कोविड को तो वैक्सीन और बहुत कुछ मतलब बंद करके अपने आप को कंटेन करके,
बट उसके जो इफेक्ट्स हुए,
हाँ वो अभी तक चल ही रहे इस तरह से.
वो एक्चुअली अभिलाषा, देयर आर सर्टेन रियलाइजेशंस दैट विल लास्ट अ लाइफ टाइम.
Right. Oh my
कोविड ने
God.
हम लोगों को बहुत कुछ एहसास कराया जो that will stay with us for life.
तो
The
हाउ वाज इट कि उन बच्चों के मतलब ये वाले स्किल्स को मतलब जस्ट जैसे कि फोन में स्कूल है या फिर मतलब सिटिंग टॉलरेंस ही नहीं आ रहा है, और सही बात है बड़े बच्चों के लिए भी उनका तो 2 साल का कुछ लोगों का गैप हुआ, सो फिल भी नहीं हो पाया कुछ लोगों के, वो पीछे ही चल रहे हैं थोड़ा। तो क्या मतलब व्हाट विल यू सजेस्ट, एंड स्पेशली बिफोर वी गो टू दिस पार्ट, सजेस्ट मी कि ये बच्चे जो हैं वी आर कंसिडरिंग कि ये न्यूरोटिपिकल हैं, बट बिकॉज यू आर एन अर्ली चाइल्डहुड एजुकेटर, सो यू आर हैविंग स्पेशल नीड्स चिल्ड्रन a lot of time, right? ADHD and autism and dyslexia and all those. So उनको जब वो जब आए तुम्हारी क्लास में, and so more possibly, I'm not saying always, they might be having more challenges. So how were those challenges and how you handled them and what you will suggest?
Abhilasha, personally, when children come to me, I'm teaching 5-year-old kids. Okay. First of all, I believe that one must not, as an educator, as a teacher, when you have a bunch of children, you have to first decide that you will not judge a child or brand a child as not non-neurotypical.
Correct.
जो neurotypical बच्चे भी होते हैं, उनके भी issue होते हैं. So you
Right.
have to look at a child as an individual. You have to separate the issue from the child. Okay. Now, even the neurotypical children, they have their own issues.
Correct.
We
Correct.
deal with that.
Yes.
And as the children came, those who did not build, those who could not build their, typical expected habits, they took a while to learn. But since the environment, see, children learn from the environment. जैसे आप उनको exposure दोगे कि ये classroom है, इतने यहाँ करना है, ये करना है, इसके साथ ऐसे behave करना है, they learn. Even children who are not neurotypical, अभी जरूरी नहीं कि एक बच्चे का एक नॉन न्यूरोटिपिकल बच्चे का प्रॉब्लम वही होगा जो दूसरे का होगा. चिल्ड्रन हैव डिफरेंट प्रॉब्लम्स.
Exactly.
You have ADHD children with excellent social skills, but good academic skills, but thoda they keep roaming around. They have their own issues, different degrees of ADHD, different degrees of autism. So you have to first identify क्या problem है, like what are the problem that manifests in their behavior. लाइक मैं तो नहीं डिसाइड कर सकती हूँ कि ये ऑटिज्म है या ADHD है, दैट उसका तो असेसमेंट होगा. बट एज ए टीचर आई विल फर्स्ट फाइंड आउट व्हाट आर द deviations that their behavior manifests. Right. And then and I also believe that you do not teach the child the way I can teach. I have to teach the child the way the child can learn.
Wow. Good.
Right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
And everyone has their plus points, their, limitations. So instead of first pointing out कि ये limitations है, ये नहीं कर पाता है, first we find out that this is what this child can do. Encourage the child for that so that he, that they feel confident about themselves. And then we will work on their shortcomings. In school, we also have we have special educators also. They are more, they are technically qualified to handle them. And in a classroom situation, you teach the children with deviations first the social skills. क्योंकि पढ़ाई लिखाई बाद में सीखने से भी चलेगा, but you should be independent. Self help skills, self care skills, ये सब सीखना सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी है. And some children do not learn by observation of other children's behavior or other children's reaction to their behavior. Like, what happens? People think, chalo, usko autism hai, wo marta hai. But actually, wo nahi marta hai. Probably that is his way to communicate. And he would know, मैंने मारा तो उसने रोया. A neurotypical child will understand. And he would either understand कि मैं नहीं मारूंगा क्योंकि वो रोया, और मैं मारूंगा क्योंकि वो रोएगा तो मेरा my revenge will be complete. But a child with autism will not understand that. And many a times they cannot communicate very nicely, like most of the times. So they may use their limbs or different kinds of acts. So as an adult, you have to understand that this is not an act of indiscipline, or this is not an act of it is not in their hands. They will behave the way their nerves are giving them signals.
So you have put it beautifully, Ratnawali, because I have spoken to a lot of parents, and me being special parent myself. But like you have put it beautifully कि जो special जो needs जो children है, उनको जो labeling जो हो जाती है, so instead of considering them as a human being and a child, we start, treating them something a different alien.
You should not, क्योंकि देखो
Right.
हम लोग न्यूरोटिपिकल लोग हैं, कोई अच्छा गाना गा सकता है, कोई नहीं गा सकता है, तो हम तो नहीं बोलते कि वो गाना नहीं गा सकता है. तो जस्ट बिकॉज अ चाइल्ड हैज डिसलेक्सिया, ही कैन नॉट रीड, आई कैन नॉट से कि वो पढ़ नहीं सकता है. इट इज जस्ट एन, एंड लिखना पढ़ना गाना, दिस आर ऑल एक्वायर्ड स्किल्स. हम लोग तो ये सब स्किल्स लेके नहीं पैदा होते हैं.
Correct.
We learn in the process of life with and we learn better if we have interest and certain tuning in the brain.
Wow.
So
जिसको कि
it
लोग
is,
इंटेलिजेंस बोलते हैं.
and
Tuning in the
below
brain.
see, there are certain things I think little differently. Below intelligence भी कुछ नहीं है.
नहीं
It is
जो
again like कोई tall है, कोई short है.
right, what you said कि ये certain tuning, right, you said certain tuning which people label as intelligence. So it is a very good way to say, that you are attuned to this acquired skill. It is a even better way to say that.
Yes, that is how I would like to think, because if I see, when I am handling 25 children in the class with varied abilities and varied backgrounds, ये भी बहुत बड़ी बात है.
Right.
कभी बच्चे बहुत चीजों का एक्सपोजर होता है, नहीं होता है. We have lot of single parents. We have, children are also exposed to certain things that they should not be at this age. So what I feel as an educator, it is not only your job to teach them vis-a-vis the academics, but there are a lot of there's an emotional baggage with, you don't know who, even children have their own battles to fight.
Yeah.
And when you have children who are little deviated, who have special needs, it is extremely important to sensitize the other children in the class that we are here to help them, and certain things are acceptable from them but not from you. Because I know an ADHD child will not say it. He may be a little destructive, have some destructive traits, if we may call it. Because it may not be destructive trait, it may be just an exploring trait.
Right? Yeah. इतना इम्पोर्टेंट क्यों नहीं है, मतलब हमारे इंडिया में तो फोकस बहुत ज्यादा है, 10th हुआ, 12th हुआ, IIT हुआ, ऐसे ऐसे, मतलब हम लोग का फोकस ऐसे ही जाता है, मतलब अब जो भी बोलो. लेकिन तुम्हारी बात से लग रहा है कि इट इज एक्चुअली वेरी 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 इंपॉर्टेंट कि अर्ली चाइल्डहुड में इतने न्यूट्रल होके, अनबायस्ड होके बच्चे की तरफ से बच्चे के बारे में समझा और सोचा जाए. मतलब आई एम पिकिंग ऑन दीज थिंग्स एज यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट योर, मतलब कि क्या तुम्हारी जो सोच है. तो आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन कि how you deal with children with baggage, like emotional baggage, or maybe these things, or maybe it's not just about you. What you suggest other people, society, parents, maybe relatives, how exactly children with baggage should be identified and how they should be treated. Because I feel कि a lot of children के से होता है, बहुत मेरा चाइल्डहुड बहुत बेकार था, बट देन समथिंग हैपेंड. सो ये अगर और भी अच्छे से सारे लोगों को समझ में आए, तो हाउ विल यू सजेस्ट कि हम लोगों को कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करना चाहिए?
बच्चे का तो कोई गलती नहीं होता है, और मेनी टाइम्स पेरेंट का भी गलती नहीं होता है. सिचुएशंस आर डिफरेंट, द वर्ल्ड हैज चेंज्ड. सी, एवरीबडी वांट्स टू बी गुड, कोई तो खराब होना नहीं चाहता है.
करेक्ट.
सो when everyone one likes appreciation, so why would a child do something जिसके लिए उसको डांट पड़े या उसको कम मार्क्स मिले? सबको तो अच्छा ही बनना चाहता है ना? Now so you have, so if you are an alert teacher, you will understand कि like अभी तो मेरा ऐसा है कि I can see a child and make out कि उसको फीवर है बिना टच किए. So you can actually make out if a child is sad, and if you identify that a child is sad, or if a child is sad for a considerable period of time, there are other red flags also. You'll see that the child, many a times you see the child is not very neatly dressed. So why would a mother not send the child neatly dressed to the child, to the school?
Yeah.
So there must be some underlying reason. The child does not eat, the child is shabby, 5-year-old child hair is not being cut regularly, books are not signed. So these are all red flags. And the child is withdrawn. Child does not want to go back home. Child does not want to come to school. These are all
Of
red
course.
flags. So if the child feels very safe with, that is what I have experienced, that if the child feels safe with the teacher, then many a times the children themselves open up. When the child feels that this is a safe place where I can just say anything and this lady is not going to judge me, she is not going to ask me too many questions, she is just going to listen to me and just make him feel that okay, you are not at fault and we will do something about it. Now I cannot control the situation at home, but I can always give the child a solution.
Wow, right.
How can you handle? I'll give you a very simple example. One small child uses the choicest Hindi cuss words. So, वो तो स्कूल में तो नहीं सीखा. I said, I told him that, see, you come to such a good school, you are such a handsome and smart boy. Do you think you talk, when you speak in this language, you look as good as you are? And he says, नहीं, जब मेरे पापा गाड़ी चलाते हैं तो ये सब बोलते हैं. So now I know what. So I told, you can tell your papa that, ma'am says that good children always speak politely. They never use bad words. Tell your father next time he's driving, tell your father that, my ma'am says that if you have to tell someone, like if you have to communicate with another driver on the road, you can talk politely also. Because if you use bad words, another person may also use bad words. Would you like to hear that? No.
Wow.
So this is a very, but then this is not a very big, this is not an emotional trauma.
हाँ, इमोशनल नहीं है, बिहेवियरल है, लेकिन मतलब ये वाली ट्रेनिंग भी होनी चाहिए. आई थिंक you should do some webinar or something where you can interact with other teachers और मिलके बात करो, because
sure each teacher has their own strategies.
Yeah, true. But I think this is lacking somewhere, because as a parent, I will tell you, and not for my child, but I have heard from other parents that immediately teachers, what they are doing, they are just going back to the parent that this is your fault. Of course this is their fault, but you, as you said, and you handled at your end, right?
Yes.
So
see, no parent will say कि हाँ मैम मैं तो ऐसे बात करता हूँ.
Of course.
Okay. And secondly, many a times parents don't realize,
right,
that I am doing something that is giving a wrong exposure to my child. So and the child will listen to bad words as and when he grows up. He will use also, but he should know कि कहाँ पे करना है, कहाँ पे नहीं करना है. And you should make, and the child, if the child is smart enough to make the parent aware that you are exposing me to certain things that I should not be, parents will learn their own lesson. Right? I am not the parent's teacher. I am your child's teacher.
No, but with other teachers also, I think they should try to take little bit more responsibility and at least tell the child that, beta, you are wrong here and probably you should not say this. So वो भी नहीं होता, कई बार हम लोग नहीं करना पसंद करते या फिर पता नहीं क्यों. There is an issue.
Many times you don't even have to tell the child that you are wrong. If you give them two situations. That Abhilasha, you say this is the consequence. You do this is the consequence. So what would you like to experience?
To the child.
The child will, right. Everybody will choose the correct thing. Correct. Naturally.
I agree.
Unless, like a person is grown up and has some interests.
Right. So early childhood, and what would you like to say as a parent? मतलब एक जो तुम्हारा experience रहा होगा as an educator, तो what do you suggest कि बच्चों को घर में कैसे उनके साथ ये करें? कुछ तो उनको आइडिया इसी से मिल जाएगा पेरेंट्स को कि क्या क्या जाती है उनकी तरफ से बातें, लेकिन what you will say कि as a parent what are the things they should really take care of? एक तो ये भी समझ में आ गया कि भाई बच्चे शादी नहीं हो, थोड़ा सा सचमुच ही ख्याल रखें इन सब का.
When you go to office, you are very well dressed, aren't you? So when your child is going to school, why shouldn't the child be well dressed? to, when a child is coming home, if many a times parents are not home, right? When you come back from your work, talk to the child about the day. ये नहीं कि आज क्या खाया क्या पढ़ाया. Ask the child about what are your experiences. आज क्या किया में तो पढ़ाई भी होगा, खेलना भी होगा, फ्रेंड से कोई बात हुई, and allow the child to speak their heart out. If the child, nowadays I have noticed that parent and child interaction is limited to the wants. Parents want the child to do something, achieve something, and children want a reward for that. So communication should not be limited to that. The wonderment and imagination and want beyond the material things should also be communicated between the parent and the child. And they talk about the value systems. पढ़ाई लिखाई सब कोई सीखते हैं, कोई नहीं होता जो ICSE या CBSE पास नहीं किया. But if you think about the larger part of the life, teach the child value system. Let them explore, let them do hands-on value system. Can you hear me now?
Yes. So value system.
Value systems.
It comes from the family. Yes.
Exploring hands-on things. Teach
like
the children life skills. There is no harm, no poverty in doing your own, making your own bed, folding your own clothes, serving food for yourself and maybe your family member. We teach the children, when your daddy comes home or your mama comes home, you can always go and give him a glass of water. These are basic self-help skills which will help you survive. अगर पढ़ाई लिखाई नहीं भी आता है, ये skills तो चाहिए.
Correct. I agree with you. Totally. Even my son says, why I have to make my bed when someone will come and do that. I said, no, it is because you have to learn the skill. It's very important.
And you are taking care of yourself.
Right.
You're not doing it to help anybody. This is self-help. You are helping yourself. Or when you are teaching these skills to the children, these are, fine motor, gross motor, estimation. You are teaching these skills also.
Yeah.
When you are making your bed, तुमको तो पता है ना, bedsheet इधर ज़्यादा नहीं, equal कैसे होगा? That is estimation.
Right.
When you are putting the pillow in the pillowcase, that is gross motor.
Right. Yes, ऐसे समझाने से शायद पेरेंट्स को भी ज्यादा समझ में आएगी बात.
Even dusting, कुछ बच्चों को कुछ नहीं होता है, dusting करने दो. These are all fine motors. Windsor grass develop होता है. But like if you ask the children, grapes तुम करके रखो, banana खुद peel करो. These are fine motor skills. Lot of hand-eye coordination. And when the mother is working, involve the children. इससे क्या होता है? Children also learn कि मेरी mummy is not responsible to do everything for me. We are doing something together, and children feel happy. They have a sense of pride that I'm helping my mother, I'm helping my teacher. And
जब घर में जब ऐसे servants हो, so it might be harder for those children क्योंकि parents के लिए भी क्योंकि ना
तो सबके servants होते हैं. But still what I have practiced, I tell my parents, and I have done it with my kids also. Servants to करेंगे आके, because children finally they cannot do as good as the servants, or the skilled people will do. So let them do. They will come and do the finishing.
Right. So like it was very insightful, Ratnawali, क्योंकि इतनी सारी चीजें थी. मतलब हम लोग बच्चों को बच्चा ही समझते हैं कि गए स्कूल से आ गए, हो गया, मतलब एक छोटा टूर है, everyday tour. But it is so important to have, the right kind of values to be inculcated in the young children, isn't it?
और उनको individual समझो. उनका खाली academics, numeracy skills और handwriting, इस पे तो ध्यान कम देने से भी चलेगा. Because if see, after all, why do we stress on good handwriting? Handwriting तो है तो motor movement ही. The child can read and do phonic analysis and can add and subtract and knows more or less, I think that is good enough. Handwriting will follow.
बहुत सारे बच्चे खुश हो जाएंगे तुम्हारी बात सुन के.
So you should.
Children will be really happy.
Skills. More on skill. Even NEP says that, National Education Policy also says the stress more on the skill development, social skills, and also socio-emotional skills. वो पहले था नहीं, it's a new
अभी
addition.
ये थोड़ा सा बता दो भाई, सोशियो इमोशनल क्या है ये?
See, socio-emotional is a very vast thing.
अच्छा,
When
छोटे में बता दो.
first of all देखो, अभी बच्चे डिफरेंट बैकग्राउंड से आते हैं,
हाँ,
और जब एक जगह जाते हैं, स्कूल में, क्लास में तो हम लोग सब एक बराबर है,
राइट.
पर हमारा पीछे का बैगेज इज डिफरेंट, पीछे का बैकग्राउंड इज डिफरेंट. उसके पास है, मेरे पास नहीं है. अब है इज नॉट अ फैंसी कलर पेंसिल. अभी तो ये है कि उसके पास दोनों मम्मी पापा है, मेरे पास कोई एक जन है.
ओह माय गॉड. ओके,
ये
अच्छा.
तो है, वी फेस दैट, राइट?
हाँ, या.
अच्छा, उसका नाउ बिकॉज हम सबके एक बच्चे होते हैं, या दो हो भी सकते हैं, न्यूक्लियर फैमिली, तो बच्चों को ना लगता है कि मैं ही सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट हूँ, I am the best. And they sulk, they feel very deprived and upset if someone is doing better. So accepting and celebrating other children and their abilities is also a part of your social adjustment. कि मेरे से भी अच्छा कोई हो सकता है, it's perfectly all right if someone is better than me. I can always try and become as good as the other child. And if someone is scoring a little more than me, that does not make me any less than him. Right?
सोशियो इमोशनल. वाह.
कोई कॉम्प्लेक्स नहीं होना चाहिए कि कोई मेरे से अच्छा कर लिया, ठीक है, मैं भी कभी कर लूंगा, इट्स ओके. And like take things easy. And parents are also very pushy. They want you to be the best. इसमें भी सबसे अच्छा, उसमें भी सबसे अच्छा. Don't do that. Let the child figure out what the child wants to do. Give them the exposure. Provide them with options. And see what the child really enjoys.
वाओ, दिस इज, ये तो मतलब हमेशा मेरे साथ ऐसा होता है कि जब मतलब ऑलमोस्ट आई एम रीचिंग द फिनाले ऑफ द इंटरव्यू, एक बहुत कुछ जबरदस्त सी बात आ जाती है, तो वही था ये भी, सोशियो इमोशनल, राइट? मतलब वेरी ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग रत्नावली, आई हैव हर्ड दिस वर्ड फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम, बट इट इज वेरी मीनिंगफुल. और वट एवर यू सेड, आई कंप्लीटली अग्री कि आज के टाइम में ये सारी चीजें हैं, और ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि फ्यूचर डिपेंड करता है इनके ऊपर, वो बच्चे इमोशनली कैसे बढ़े.
Abhilasha, can I just a minute? Someone
या
said that.
sure. Yeah, so as I said, I was just saying कि मतलब it was मेरी आंखें खुल गई टाइप हुआ ये. मतलब इट इज एक्चुअली रियली कि सोशियो, क्योंकि पूरा इमोशंस और सोशल इंटरेक्शन, ये सारी दो चीजें ही ऐसी हैं जिसपे हमारा पूरा लाइफ आगे फ्यूचर जाएगा. क्योंकि पढ़ाई तो कोई सचमुच कभी भी कर सकता है. आई ऑल्सो अंडरस्टैंड एंड अग्री विद दिस, बट
अभी तो आज के जमाने में तो पढ़ाई इज अवेलेबल एट द फिंगर टिप.
या you
अभी हमारा जो
literally have your
एजुकेशन
school in
सिस्टम था, पढ़ लिख के एग्जाम लिखना, अब तो वो सिस्टम और भी नहीं रहेगा, और 10 साल बाद तो ये सब खत्म हो जाएगा. Like, who would want to know which river originates from which mountain and falls in which ocean? ये सब नहीं चाहिए ना. With the population, with the family system and everything, the way that things have changed, I think the emotional quotient is more important than IQ, and your skills to identify what you need and what you can do
is more important. तो हमारा जो टेक अवे है, it is like
children need only love and the sense of safety, sense of acceptance, and that sense of that confidence building, that ठीक है, जो भी है बहुत अच्छा है, हम लोग इस पे काम करेंगे, अगर नहीं कुछ कमी है तो, ये नहीं कि ये कम है and all that. So these things, if you can do with a small child, that will take him a long way. They will, when the children grow up, they will remember that.
वाह, बहुत ही मतलब जबरदस्त बात है. मतलब आई फील लाइक ये भी 2-4 मिनट चुपचाप बैठ के ना इसको अब्सॉर्ब करने की जरूरत है. बट इट वाज रियली ग्रेट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि एक तो मतलब एज आई सेड कि जो लास्ट वाला जो था, क्या सोशियो इमोशनल, राइट? That's the most important thing. Now I'm realizing at this, मतलब simultaneously, it's the most important thing. क्योंकि really skill और पैसा और ये सब जो चीजें हैं जो हैं सो हैं, but socio-emotional skill, how good are you in that? That will take you, longer and better ways. Thank you so much, Ratnawali. I really hope कि you join for more insightful conversations, especially on early childhood. It was really helpful. I'm very sure the parents, जो कि बहुत busy हैं अपने काम में, बहुत जरूरी है, बहुत अच्छा कर रहा है. But if they have children, they have to take time out, and because they have brought children in this world. So ये उनकी responsibility है कि if you have done it, तो just carry on this responsibility with as effective, skill as possible.
And if you do it the early years, you are done for the life. First
Yes.
5-6 years are very
Are
important.
crucial. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
in.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'm
And
so
thank you
glad.
so much for tuning in.